to do our big town hall event there, to talk directly with people who have been living through the man-made lead poisoning disaster that happened to the city of Flint because of a terrible, reckless mistake made by the administration of Michigan Governor Rick Snyder, by state employees who reported directly to him. In Flint, mothers and fathers and grandmothers and grandfathers told us directly about the skin rashes they had themselves and that they found on their kids. They were sure those were caused by the bad water because they'd never had them before. They told us about the everyday physical job of searching for drinkable water for themselves and their families. It remains almost unbelievable, almost unreal, that a good-sized American city doesn't have drinking water. It's additionally unfathomable that they still don't today. The Snyder administration poisoned the town and wrecked the water pipes in the town more than 2 years ago. But in Flint, that just means they're in year 3 of this disaster. The injury in Flint is vast, and the recovery has been very, very slow. This is the reality of this American city, poisoned at the hands of an administration that remains in power today. In the richest nation on earth, the Snyder administration is still in power, right? But the Americans who live in Flint, Michigan, they still can't drink their water. Their pipes still haven't been replaced. But some things have changed in Flint since we did that town hall 5 months ago. A few days ago, the federal EPA announced that water filters fitted onto the faucets. The EPA said they really do make Flint water safe to drink for everyone. There had previously been a federal warning in place that said it was okay for everyone else to drink filtered water, but kids and pregnant women shouldn't. The federal EPA said just a few days ago that even kids and pregnant women can now drink water from the tap in Flint if that water is properly filtered. And, you know, this isn't nothing. I mean, the ultimate goal in Flint is still to replace the pipes that the Snyder administration wrecked, because those wrecked pipes are what's leaching lead into the water. But in the meantime, until that apparently politically impossible job is done, it would make daily life in Flint easier if people could drink safely from filtered faucets at home instead of having to get every drop of water for everything every day out of a plastic bottle. But that instruction to use a filter, that's not just something where you wave a magic wand or you just say those magic words and it happens. It's a serious logistical endeavor to get working filters and appropriate filters onto every single faucet in every single home, and then to make sure the filters are properly installed, and to make sure that every single family in every single home with every single filter on every single faucet is using the filter correctly and changing the filter on time. Filters don't last forever. You have to change the filters out after you've used them for a certain period of time. With 30,000 roughly occupied homes in Flint, we're talking tens of thousands of filters that all need to be present, properly fitted, used right, and changed in a timely manner indefinitely. The health of Flint now depends on that gargantuan and granular, complicated, house-to-house, faucet-by-faucet undertaking. And as we have seen so often in Flint, it is the people of Flint who are taking on that gargantuan task themselves. God bless them. Over this weekend, some local Flint volunteers brought our producer, Caitlin Tierney, along with them to see how this painstaking house-to-house work is going, even now, to try to save this poisoned town.
We're in the neighborhood making sure everybody have water filters and faucets.
I don't have one.
You don't have a filter? I mean, a filter?
At all?
You know, they said on the news last night, you got a filter, you can start drinking that water.
Right.
And I know they're lying.
Yeah.
Ain't no way in hell you drink that water just that quick.
We went over a year of making Coolidge for our son and for his friends, making coffee, cooking with it. And there's no way to go back.
Okay, that's your hot water. So when you want to run the cold water through it, you turn it down like this, and you get that green light. So all you need is a replacement filter.
Right.
Have the light turned red yet?
Yeah.
When the light turned red, you have to change the filter. Yeah.
I really use bottled water when I make a dish. When it comes to mashed potatoes or any kind of noodles or anything, I use bottled waters, but I don't really filter is It's filtered.
They told us 2 years ago that the water was safe when they switched from the Detroit water to the Flint water. So the level of trust is not there. Do I see that changing? No. How do I know? Because every single day at our church, we are servicing a minimum of 150 to 500 in some cars per day.
When we test with our whole house filters, we're down to 0. So even knowing that, it's hard though to just open the faucet and take a drink out of it because we were poisoned for so long.
The trust is not going to be there until we see the pipes dug up, replaced in the homes. Hot water heaters are replaced in the homes. When we see that, the trust will come back. But not until then. And not until we stop with the theatrics of somebody coming in, drinking a glass of water.
When they replace the pipes and the hot water heaters, then the trust will come back. Not with these theatrics. The theatrics she means there, first of all, Governor Rick Snyder hauling away Flint jugs of water to drink at home and in his office, and then President Obama last month drinking a glass of Flint water when he took a visit there himself. Even as life for thousands of families in Flint is still lived one bottle of water at a time. You heard a bunch of people say there they do not trust the water for more than washing dishes or maybe rinsing off food. They do not, in some cases, trust it for showering. They do not drink it themselves. They're not giving it to their kids to drink. And they tell us they were poisoned for so long while everybody in authority told them it was safe that now, frankly, understandably, they feel like they can't trust the water and they can't trust what they are told about the water. Not until the pipes that were ruined, that have been putting the lead in the water all this time, not until those pipes come out of the ground and new pipes take their place. Well, the good news in Flint is that the legislature, finally, in year 3 of the crisis, they have finally sent Flint actual money to dig up and replace the first few thousand of the 9,000 or 10,000 pipes that might need replacing. The bad news is that when the city asked contractors to bid on doing that work, the initial estimates that came in from contractors were much, much, much higher than Flint was expecting. Flint officials met this week with contractors again, trying to get a better deal for the city. They asked the contractors to submit new bids by tomorrow. Presumably what they're hoping for is more affordable bids. Just as we were told in Flint this weekend, Flint's Mayor Karen Weaver knows she has to get those pipes out of the ground. She has to get new pipes into Flint if people are ever going to trust their water again. It is an enormous job, and forgive me, but she is not helped at all in that job by the stubborn refusal and the excuse-making and the inexcusable, inexplicable, infuriating delay by state lawmakers and the governor and Congress to help get the enormous job done. Yeah, no hurry, right? I mean, the people of Flint did not bring this on themselves. They didn't do anything wrong here. Through no fault of their own, they were poisoned by their state's government screwing something up. But yet it's still basically on them. It's on Flint residents themselves to go door to door, even now, to find the old people who still, after all this time, don't have a water filter on their faucet, to tell people how to change their water filters because they never have. It's still on Flint residents themselves to figure out if they can get the pipe replacement done. You know, sorry we poisoned you, Flint. Now you figure it out. The irony was not lost on Flint this week when the water in a congressional office building in D.C. tested a little bit high for lead. Not toxic waste high, the way it happens in Flint, but a little higher than recommended. Congressional staffers were immediately notified that they would be getting bottled water to drink immediately. One congressman from Florida is demanding answers today. Stat ASAP. This is an emergency. Right? Okay, yeah, when the threat of an irreversible neurotoxin is swirling around in your own coffee cup, it does tend to focus your attention if you work for Congress. Back in the heat of the national attention to the crisis in Flint, the New York Times editorialized that if the governor of Michigan wouldn't do what it took to fix Flint, then honestly, the Army Corps of Engineers should be sent in. Send in the Army Corps of Engineers to dig up Flint's plumbing, replace the pipes, and then when the work is done, just send the bill to the state of Michigan. They did it. They should pay for fixing it. And if they don't have the will to do it, the country will get it done and bill the state of Michigan. And at the time, when the New York Times editorialized that way, I think a lot of people considered the paper might be getting a little ahead of things, might be being a little hyperbolic. But we're now in year 3 of the Flint lead poisoning crisis, and the pipes are still in the ground, with no one trusting the new promises about the filtered water and donations of bottled water drying up. Local pastors who've been handling donations of bottled water say their only solution right now is for people to pray for some way out of this. Since the politicians can't fix it, maybe God can. Bottled water's drying up. People don't trust the filters. No clear idea of when Flint will just have plain, safe water out of the tap like the rest of the country and like they used to have. With some families just now getting their first filters, with countless others getting the filters fitted properly for the first time or told for the first time when they need to change those filters. 3 years into this. And the whole country led to believe, by the initial flurry of media attention, that Flint got saved at least a little bit with those door-to-door bottled water deliveries. Remember that? They got all that media attention months ago? Honestly, the state never got it together to do that again, except for that 1 week when every media outlet in the country was paying attention to the Flint crisis. And in front of those cameras, the state arranged those door-to-door deliveries in Flint for that 1 week, and then they never did it again. What happened in Flint is not Flint's fault. What happened there was done to Flint by their state government. Looking at how hard Flint residents have fought for themselves and what they have been through and how tough they are, I would not put it past the people of Flint to get their own town fixed on their own. But for now, it's not fixed. Nobody's sending in the Army Corps of Engineers. Anyone checked your filter for you, sir? Oh, do you not have a filter yet? Just tonight, the local county medical society in Genesee County announced, actually, despite what the EPA said the other day, they think that pregnant women and young children should not drink the water, even if it is through a filter, regardless of what the EPA says. The doctors locally are worried about random lead still floating around in Flint's water system from its destroyed pipes, which haven't been replaced. So they locally at the county level are warning pregnant and nursing moms and young kids to not drink the filtered water again, even though the EPA just said they could. And meanwhile, the pipes are rotting in the ground through another summer right now. I wish I had better news to report about Flint, but I don't. It's infuriating.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe.
I'm feeling selfish, baby, losing my mind. This drink in my cup ain't doing me right, 'cause I'm feeling like I'm sipping on time. Without you, baby, my steps ain't right. My words are twisted and my songs are blank lines. I ain't been faded, but my head keeps spinning around. I'm looking for you, girl, 'cause I can't do it myself. Without it, don't need it. Without it, don't need it. Without it, let's go down. This is part 2 when I'm without you. On the blink of the eye, lost sight of you. You got me singing. You got me singing. You got me singing. Yeah. Saw you for the second time, blew my mind. Play it back, girl, rewind. Without you, girl, I don't know what I do. KBH on the remix, part 2. I can be your morphine, take away the pain. Be a Superman, yeah, save you from the lames. You're my Wonder Woman, girl, you got me on your rope. Hope you never let me go. I'm just trying to let you know the way you make me feel, Mr. Incredible. Search you out like yoga, my last girl. Got my heart, I'm drowning in your love. You're my oxygen, can't never get enough. All the small things I would do for you. Back flips, front flips, 182. In the blink of an eye, lose sight of you. Life isn't worth living if it's without you. Without it, don't need it. Without it, don't need it. Without it, let's go down. This is part 2 when I'm without you. One blink of the eye, lost sight of you. You got me singing. You got me singing. You got me singing. club and she wants a cold check. High heel strap and the body unchecked. Something like a Maserati when she walk by. Keeping at a distance cause shot is too fly. Cause the roof's on fire, she only getting higher. Lust is required, let me give you your desire. The vision of your beauty just stuck in my dome. Try to let me in like an invitation to your home. Without you, baby, we don't make one. Cause you're like my bullet and my loaded gun. Blood drunk, got me so sprung. Hanging on tight like I'm on the run. Like the mafia, you made me who I am. I made man, but before I met you, I was acting like a good 10. Without you, it's like I'm locked in the pen. Do the night then, again and again. A little closer, I'm one step away from this point to approach her. I'm fighting for her love, in this war, I'm a soldier. Bang, bang, game on, giving up on the girl that I love. I will take the fall when push comes to shove. I can see the future when I look into her eyes. Memories fly by like days of our lives. Girl, I miss you, and I want you, and my conscience says that I need you. The only letters I can say is why I owe you. Girl, you kept the heart beating, this is why I owe you. Child, this school, I swear to God that I'm tripping. Without you, girl, I got insomnia. I can't sleep cause my kiss is getting on to you.
Girl, you got me saying